This week, Andy Jassy steps up as the new Amazon CEO. If you're looking for a new job or career, TikTok may have a solution for you. And there is something that's coming this month from nothing. Those are some of the tech news. Okay, let me start over. Those are some of the tech news stories for this week. And it's Sunday, July 11th, 2021. My name is Kirk Corliss.
And I'm Scott Ertz.
And it's episode 91 of the GNC Week in Review podcast, proud partner of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. Thank you so much for tuning in for this week's episode. We are live on gncweekly.com/live, so please be sure to say hello and chat or comment. Also, be sure to like and subscribe to the GNC WIR channel on YouTube. If you miss a live video, that's okay. You can always catch the replay later. If you are a listener, please be sure to subscribe to the podcast where you can find on the right-hand side column at gncweekly.com, be it Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app. If you have a comment, be it on social media or email, and those links can be found at gncweekly.com/connect. And I'm trying to get this one banner out of the way here. Playing multiple buttons here.
I was like, doing it along with it.
All right, let's try this again. There we go. Okay, there we go. Okay. Huzzah. Okay, so now we got technical issues out of the way, and the lower thirds and the graphics.
That means the whole rest of the show is going to be smooth sailing.
Right.
That's usually what that means, right?
Exactly. Well, you probably realize, if you're listening live or listening on the podcast later, we're watching live. It is Sunday. It's not Friday. Took a couple weeks off, and Scott had some things going on Friday, so we're back. And on a Sunday, normally
a shot on a new day.
There you go. So we're here on a Sunday evening. Normally the show is Friday evenings at 8 p.m. Eastern. So I'm glad to be back. We are so glad to be back with you.
Indeed.
On
just to keep everybody on their toes, F5 Live is not tonight. It's tomorrow.
Okay.
This whole weekend's weird.
Yeah. So
everything I'm involved in is on the wrong night.
That's all right. Well, we're glad to be back with you guys this week on this episode. And turn it on my phone. There we go. Okay. Awesome. Okay.
That's where it was coming from.
Right. So that was my fault. I apologize. All right. So great to be back with you guys this week. And one thing I want to mention to you guys this evening is the Podcast Awards is now open live now for listener nominations. Yes. Right, for listener nominations. It's going to be on until the July 30th, I believe. And if you go to podcastawards.com, and I'm going to share our screen right now if you guys are watching live right now. And there we go. Okay. All right. So if you go to podcastawards.com, it's going to ask you with your first name, last name, email address. And when you go after that, it'll ask you to confirm the link, or to confirm link when you get the email, and you go to the site. And all the way down the bottom. Now, a couple things. We're on this podcast, and also Scott F5 Live for technology as well. So you would click on here to vote for GNC Week in Review. Also, or which I recommend, definitely GNC Week in Review, but also there's F5 Live Reflection Technology. So definitely we would appreciate your vote or nomination vote. And we'll have a link up in the show notes. And we posted it on the GNC Week Facebook page and also Twitter. Scott with F5 Live also has his shared as well. So you click on GNC Week in Review, and all the way up the top, it's the Adam Curry's People Choice Award. And there is a lot of podcasts here.
There are.
Holy smokes.
And F5 Live is not in that collection, because I decided there were too many.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay. So for GNC Week in Review, just click on that. And and then submit. And there's also other podcasts here.
Yeah.
I'm not really familiar with a lot of these. So definitely
check out, if you listen to other shows, which most people who listen to podcasts listen to more than one, definitely look through the lists, see if there are other shows that you listen to, and help them out too.
Absolutely.
Chances are, if they have put themselves in, you have heard them make the same pitch to you.
Right.
But definitely give it a shot. Look and see if there's another show that you listen to that's in here. Help them out as well.
Absolutely.
I definitely filled out like 11 of the categories. So it had nothing to do with going in here just for our stuff. I definitely filled out for others as well, because you should.
Yep, absolutely. So definitely, and I listen. Some of the podcasts I listen to is not only either for some reason, but definitely check it out. Definitely vote or nominate us for for the technology category. Also, F5 Live. Now, sound Scott earlier,
and then there will be another phase after this, and we're
right,
and we will let everybody know what that looks like when it's time. But for right now, this is how you can help us out.
Yep, absolutely, definitely, and and if I was telling Scott earlier before, if we get nominated, it's awesome. If F5 Live gets nominated, that's awesome too. So absolutely. I will definitely throw my support in with definitely vote for. In fact, I'm gonna do that right now because do it right now. So we'll do that. We'll just do.
That's so funny because under mine I put GNC.
All right, there you go. So definitely do that, and we definitely appreciate all your support. We always appreciate all of our listeners and viewers of the podcast. It means tremendous to us. So we thank you so much for all your support. Okay. All right, so let's jump in the news this week. Amazon founder Jeff Bezos stepped down as CEO on Monday. And Andy Jassy, who ran Amazon's cloud computing business, is replacing him. This was a change that the company announced in February. Bezos will take over the role of executive chair with plans to focus on new products initiatives. In a blog post to employees earlier this year, Bezos says he planned to devote more time to side projects, including his space exploration company, Blue Origin, his philanthropic initiatives, and overseeing the Washington Post, which he owns. Jassy, who has been with Amazon since 1997, ran the cloud computing business that powers video streaming site Netflix and major companies, making it one of Amazon's most profitable businesses. Now, there are reports that there are challenges for Jassy when there are growing calls for tighter regulation on tech giants. The report by the House Judiciary Committee in October calling for possibly breaking up Amazon and others, making it harder for them to acquire companies and imposing new rules to safeguard competition. I think you guys on F5 Live, I think it was this past week or before that, about big tech breaking up and how that's going to affect consumers down the road.
Yeah. So there was we covered that on the show on the last episode, which I think it was 2 weeks ago, because we were off for the 4th. And then tomorrow night, we will be talking about the executive order that was signed on Friday that has a lot of targeting in it as well, including adding scrutiny to the big tech companies. So it will be a topic that will show up again a little bit tomorrow, although we're going to talk about it from the internet side of things.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that Jassy, I mean, he's well versed in the company, and and I think that maybe, I don't know how this is going to play, with how Congress, because Congress, we've been talking about this in the previous episodes. I know you guys how Congress wants to get their little grubby fingers in these companies, and there's a lot of things where I would believe Congress should be in these companies and some that shouldn't, and I believe that the new head of the FTC, Amazon, I believe, asked her to step down, recuse herself because of the MG, because they're trying to get MGM, and there's been a lot of questions about that, and so I'm just kind of curious what's going to happen with that, and if it's going to go, if that merge going to go through or not.
It's all so much more complicated when everybody's in bed together, isn't it? That's where we are. There's too much overlap in these groups, and it's created this situation. Oh, the head of the FTC has to step down because there's already well, you know what? Once we're at that point, things have gotten weird.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna, I mean, because back in the day when there was all these mergers, they're like, okay, we're gonna make sure you're gonna do this, and this, and if not, then you're gonna get this, and this, and hefty fines. So with this merger with MGM, I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
That one's gonna be a mess. That one's gonna be a problem.
Yeah. That's going to be really sticky. So I'm just kind of curious what's going to happen. Good, and good on, hopefully, we'll see what happens in the next coming weeks, months with it. So, but, Ms. Jessie, good on you. So all the best to you. Godspeed. All right.
It's good timing because he's about to try and go to space, which would not be great for the CEO of one of the largest companies on the planet. Just saying.
Right.
Seems like the timing might have had something to do with that.
Yep. And speaking of Richard Branson had and it was all over the news this morning about his touching
beating them there by 5 days.
Right. Curse you.
Apparently Bezos is pissed. From what I understand, he is absolutely furious that he beat him there by 5 days, because this date had been planned for quite a while, and for Branson to come in and go, oh yeah, by the way, in like 2.5 weeks, on this date, I'm going to go to space, and I'll be the first one.
But what kills me is that these billionaires, I mean, there's so much things going on in this world, why dump billions of dollars? I mean, you have like Elon Musk with Starlink. I mean, granted, he's doing something good, throwing up satellites for broadband, broadband connectivity to everyone. Good on him. However, there's other things going on in this world that you don't need to spend billions of dollars going up into space, lasting for a hot minute, because all it was a hot minute. I saw on, and I can't remember what it was, on MSNBC. It was like they were up for about maybe a half hour, and came right back down.
Yeah. Which, by the way, is basically the vomit comment. It is so barely different than that that it doesn't even make sense to me to have spent that kind of time and money for, what's the word? Nothing.
Right. And speaking of that, this press release came out with basically literally nothing. And there's a tech startup that's called Nothing, and they're announcing its debut.
Yeah. We thought the Boring Company had a weird and boring name. No.
Right.
There's less here.
Right. They're announcing their debut. They're announcing a debut pair of true wireless earbuds. It's called the Nothing Ear One. They're announcing at 9 a.m. Eastern on July 27th, which is about 2.5 weeks from now. This is from the company's founder, Carl Pei. Now, if you don't know, he's best known as one of the co-founders of OnePlus, a company he parted ways with last year. This launch, reported, comes around a month later than the June launch window. Nothing previously announced. See, as like I'm reading my script and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. After Pei tweeted that the company was delaying the launch because it had quote, a few things left to finalize. How about the name? There's not a whole lot of details about the Nothing Ear One. They've been teasing some details about it over the past few months. They'll have a quote stripped down aesthetic featuring transparent materials in their construction, and that's been designed in collaboration with Teenage Engineering. Another great name. There's been
What is
nothing
happening here? This honestly, this sounds like a prank. What? It sounds a lot like somebody took a press release and then turned it into a Mad Lib, and then used a random word generator to fill it in collaboration with Teenage Engineering. What? I understand a lot of the good business names have been taken. That doesn't mean you have to go to a bad one. You can go to an okay one.
Isn't there a website or an app called a random name generator?
I don't think it would get weirder than this.
Right. Okay. So so nothing is saying that every time see this, remember you said this is gonna be a weird show, weird episode. We hit pay dirt. Wireless earbuds are the first product category that they're planning to tackle, but Pei has talked about moving into more areas over time. In an interview with The Verge in January, Pei said the company eventually hopes to build up an entire ecosystem of interconnected devices. Pei said, quote, "The ultimate vision of having everything connected in a seamless way that can only happen when you have multiple categories of products." Doesn't Apple have the same thing? They have the iPad. Everything's connected, and everything's connected with Apple, with be it iPhone, iPad, their Macs, their what the hell's it? Their speaker. Oh,
the HomePod.
The HomePod. Yeah, thank you. Okay.
Which, by the way, do not upgrade to the Audio OS 15 beta, because apparently it's melting speakers.
Oh no.
So the 16 people who bought them are apparently having them sacrificed by Apple. Anyway, that's not our topic. I just read that earlier in the week and thought that was hilarious. Nobody wanted these, and the ones that actually did, we're going to ruin remotely. Huzzah!
Oh my goodness! And we were just talking about earlier before we came on. That it's like, I mean, again, you have Sony, Apple, Sennheiser, Monster. You have all these different companies. Apple, yeah,
because we've got Beats in there, which is Apple.
Right. Good point. Okay. So you have all these companies, and we were discussing earlier, we were talking about earlier we should do a pre-show. Definitely. That's one of the things we should do. And I think with if we get with Patreon or something like that, we should definitely do a pre-show, because a lot happens.
Yeah. While we're talking and preparing, a lot of weird stuff happens.
Right.
We talk a lot of topics during it.
Right. Exactly. So it's like, but I'm just curious. It's like, why would this company go into an avenue where it's heavily saturated, where there's other avenues or other categories in the tech space that they can work on, and not only work on, but be better than the others?
Have impact on.
Exactly.
Because I'm going to tell you, a startup is unlikely to have an impact on an industry that is headed by companies like Sony, Monster, and Apple.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Sorry. And even if they have a small impact, one of them is going to buy them.
Right.
Which might be their point. Who knows?
Right.
It could be one of those startups that was started simply with the intention of being purchased by somebody, instead of being excited about building a thing. Mm-hmm. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm just kind of wondering, because I mean, imagine everything goes back to CES. Imagine if they were at CES, and imagine if anyone would pass by their booth and say, well, what's so unique about your earbuds than, say, Apple or Monster, or what's so unique? Because we were talking about earlier, the press release was limited.
Mm-hmm.
They're not giving. There's nothing really anything that I saw, and I know you're a guru of headphones, so basically I think. So
I try.
No, you are. I think you're like the guru of headphones. to me, I mean, you might agree or not. Nothing really stands out for me to purchase one. To be honest, what's this going? What happened? What happened?
Oh, you said nothing really stands out for me, and it's funny because it's the name of the company. Maybe that's what they're hoping for. That people will misunderstand when you say nothing stands out about your product.
Let's got it. Let's got it.
I almost spit out my drink. It was so mean. Anyway, yeah, no, I looked into it. I don't know. It doesn't seem like they don't talk about the headphones, which for me is a problem.
Right.
Because I want to hear about, what kind of driver are you using? I think they said that they were being made with transparent materials.
Yep.
Okay, so it's 97. Got it. What are we talking about? Yeah. In 97, we all had a corded little princess phone that was transparent.
Oh, I remember those.
There were all the transparent Macs, and then Compaq tried to steal the idea. Okay, so your only pitch is welcome to 97.
Right.
And it's the only real information they've given.
Right.
It's not ideal.
No.
It doesn't seem either they haven't actually made the product. And so therefore they can't give us any details, which is possible, or there's nothing special.
And it's basically nothing.
Yeah, the name might be right.
And I guarantee you, I just honestly think that they're going to put themselves out there, and when I got the press release, and then I was doing some research and looking at the various news outlets, on it. I was desperately trying to find something tangible to report on, but there was nothing to report on it. There wasn't. It was basically.
Congratulations. There's nothing to report on. And that, honest to God, that's where the story comes in. It is merely about puns with their stupid name.
Right.
Because it does seem that their name is correct. There's nothing there.
Right. And that's why if you're watching live on YouTube or GNC Weekly live, the show title is Something That's Coming From Nothing. Because I always like it also too. Scott really helps out with the title too as well sometimes, and has the graphic for the thumbnail for we publish later. This is gonna be really fun. This is gonna be a really fun thumbnail later in about a half hour from now.
It might just be white.
I like it.
With a slight haze to it.
I like it. Oh, I love it. Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah. So I'm just curious, and hopefully, it's the 27th. So 2 weeks from tomorrow. So on our Friday, July 30th, that's going to be, it's going to be interesting. I'm definitely may keep an eye on this. And
we have to.
Yeah, I'm going to,
because this is too weird.
I'm definitely going to keep an eye on this. And if you guys out there want to know about, if you want to find out what other names could be coming up with this company, gncweekly.com/connect. Let us know
what comes after the nothing ear, which is a hard sentence to say out loud. Because all of grammar tells me stop talking.
Oh, and when I was putting up the rundown in the script, I was just everything. I chuckled reading it back, and I'm still chuckling. I'm probably going to chuckle. I'm going to be chuckling and laughing when I get this
appropriately,
right?
Because it's weird.
It is the most weirdest. This is the most weirdest. I think we should mark this. At the end of the year when we have an end of the year show. And we probably do a top 5 weird things, weird news, the news of the week or the year, This is going to be on a top. This is going to be at least in the top 5.
It's got to.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna. Yeah, so we definitely have. Obviously, it's not here yet, but definitely, we're gonna. I'm gonna definitely put up. I'm gonna make up something special. A special. Do a special episode of the top 5 weirdest tech news of the year. Yep. All right. Moving right along to something even more bizarre.
Oh, good.
TikTok has launched a pilot program that allows people in the U.S. to apply for entry, associate, and senior level positions by tagging videos they upload to the platform using hashtag TikTok resumes hashtag. You can see there's a list of approximately. You can see a list of approximately 36 companies that are taking part in the pilot, as well as the jobs they're hiring for by visiting TikTok's dedicated resumes website.
Nope.
Yeah, exactly. Some of them more.
Society is complete. We're done.
Some of the most notable brands taking part, including Shopify, Target, and the Detroit Pistons. Applicants have until July 31st to apply for the first set of jobs posted on the platform. In expanding in this way, the company says, quote, believes there's an opportunity to bring more value to people's experience with TikTok by enhancing the utility of the platform as a channel for recruitment. Hard pass. I mean, I always believe, you submit your resume or upload your resume, whomever, because I want to update my resume as well. Give you your name, experiences. I've seen some of the videos they posted. They're all cheery and excited, and and I'm so and so, and well, I do this, and they're like just giddy about it. I'm like,
yeah, you want to spritz them with water like a cat.
Right. Exactly. Why? Where? I mean, is this like for me? TikTok. I'm not on TikTok. Are you?
No.
Okay. All right.
No, I talk very poorly about it, and I definitely feel like after all the crap I've given them over the years, basically calling them a spy arm for the Chinese government by putting myself on there would be a little hypocritical.
Right.
Because Michelle pitched it recently, and I'm like, I don't know. If you want to run it, that's fine. I don't know that my face could appear because I'm pretty sure they'd find me.
And for those who are new to the podcast, Michelle Mendez is the executive producer for F5 Live.
Technically for Plug It's Live Presents.
Plug It's Live, excuse me. Plug It's Live, sorry. I always get her title mixed up. Yeah, so she's executive producer for
although if she was physically over here, I'd ask her to produce F5 Live too.
Yeah, I'm not on TikTok. I don't use it. I just think it's for teenagers and people that are in their early 20s.
It's the new Snapchat as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you the same kind of weird things that made Snapchat uncomfortable for me, and the reason why I'm not there. I'm not there, but the company is. I don't know that we've posted anything since CES 2020, but I don't think it's a spy arm of the Chinese government. So I haven't talked. I just don't understand it. I don't understand Snapchat, but the weird things, the things that made me uncomfortable about Snapchat, all seem to exist on TikTok and more publicly, which is not better. Because there's like inappropriate content aimed at or made by kids. Oh, it makes me uncomfortable.
Right.
If you want to become a video editor for Abercrombie and Fitch, however, you can apply through TikTok, whatever this stupid thing is.
But
better be a damn good TikTok video.
Right.
If you're applying to be a video editor through a video platform, it better be a damn good video.
But usually TikTok videos, from what I understand, is a minute or less, right?
Yes, and usually kids dancing in less clothing than they probably should, which is part of what makes me super uncomfortable about TikTok and why I probably would never hire somebody who tried to send me a TikTok video.
Right. Yeah, I'm not on it, but also too is like your resume is supposed to. The whole purpose of a resume is when you apply, you're supposed to make yourself good than everyone else. So how do you so the question is, how do you shoot a video and label it as a resume
and throw it into the sea? It's honest to God, it's a message in a bottle. That's what TikTok is. Mm-hmm. And hopefully people find your island. And most people never do. Most people are never found, and they die a gruesome death alone on their island.
Right. Yeah, that is the most unbelievable. And even what's even more believable, that Americans now spend more time on TikTok and YouTube.
Uh-oh.
This is according to analytics from App Annie's latest State of Mobile report.
I'm terrified of where this stat is headed.
Right. Well, it gets better, which tracks trends in consumer behavior on a wide range of mobile apps from 2019 to 2021. The report found in the U.S., people who use Android phones now spend an average 24.5 hours in TikTok per month, compared to 22 hours per month in YouTube. 2.5 hours may be a slim difference, but by judging by App Annie's data, the gap will widen in December 19, the beginning of the firm's management period. Americans were spending 16 hours per month on TikTok versus around 21.5 on YouTube, meaning TikTok's user engagement has grown significantly while YouTube's has grown very little. TikTok also leads YouTube in the UK, where users spend around 26 hours per month on TikTok, around 16 per month on YouTube. Overall, App Annie found that during its measurement period, TikTok's average monthly time spent per user, quote, grew faster than nearly every other app analyzed, including 70% in the US and 80% in the UK, surpassing Facebook. And this is again,
Facebook's been on a downward trajectory for years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And other news about Facebook is going to may go down even more. So I don't see, from what I understand. I mean, from I don't use it, but it seems to me that
I understand.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at the jobs, and I get it. Nobody is trying to hire a chief financial officer.
Okay.
Through this.
Okay.
I was looking at Attention, and Attention is hiring account supervisor for TikTok, an associate creative director, a creative producer for TikTok, a creative strategist for brand partnerships, probably selling ads on their TikTok videos, a production coordinator for their TikTok videos, a project manager for brand partnerships. And then you go over to bold.org. What are they looking for? They're looking for an engagement marketing manager, a social media intern for TikTok, and a TikTok content creator. So it literally seems like the things they're trying to hire through this. All right, Chipotle is trying to find people to work in their restaurants. So it's not entirely that, but based on Chipotle's employee base, if you've ever been in one, they all look like they spend time on TikTok.
Right.
So if you're hiring for a specific thing, especially if it's TikTok related, which a lot of this is, it's either no low skill jobs, right? Low value add jobs. Somebody working at Chipotle or Forever 21 or Hollister or something like that, or influencer communications manager and video creator. Which is for a company called Home Talk. No idea what they do. So it seems like it actually kind of makes sense if you're looking for a social media manager or something like that.
Right.
Okay. Starting it at the social media level makes sense to me. I get it. I am not looking for that person. I probably should be. Because it's definitely not me.
Right.
I loathe social media. So it's a weird industry to be in for me. But yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know that I would be hiring somebody this way.
I wouldn't
the
either.
people who are hiring this way, they're hiring for people. A lot of it is hiring for people who are living on TikTok as their job. So I get it.
But also social media can bite you in the butt, because if you're working for a company and let's say for whatever reason, you put them on blast on TikTok.
Yeah. All of a sudden, Sherwin-Williams fires you because you're telling people
Right. Yep.
cool paint colors to make and
I saw that.
selling more paint and paying for it out of your own money. All of a sudden, you're out of a job.
Yep. Yeah, that's the most. That when I saw that was
the worst.
Yeah.
If I were Home Depot, I would have publicly hired that guy.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, without a doubt,
I would have gone out of my way to very publicly hire that guy and pay for his paint as he designed new colors on TikTok.
Yep.
I don't understand TikTok, but I understand how that was a success and would have been good for Sherwin-Williams if they hadn't gotten in the way. It would have been good for somebody else to step in and go, nope. Great idea. Come work for us. We'll buy your paint.
Yeah, something tells me he's probably, because he got, from what I saw in the news about that, I'm pretty sure he's got a job somewhere, and doing quite well. But again, I just don't see the need for, because I always believe social media is a blessing and it's also a detriment. And I
am certainly more on the second part of that one than the first.
Yeah.
I view it as a social contagion more than anything.
Yeah. It's kind of gotten, it's kind of gotten, like you said, a downward slope. Exactly. That's exactly. And to have, have TikTok use for that many people, which blows my mind. If anyone's on, if you use TikTok, if you know people that on TikTok and love it, let us know, gncweekly.com/connect, because I'm just kind of curious, what is the hype with it? I really don't get it.
I tried to have Danielle explain to me Snapchat and it never worked. I have tried to have her explain to me TikTok and it's never worked. But I also didn't understand Vine, and I equally didn't understand Musical.ly, which is what TikTok was before it was TikTok.
Right.
Don't get it. The only thing I get is that I have always liked their branding.
Yeah.
But it's weird to like the branding of a company you do not understand.
Yeah, I don't understand it either. I don't get it either. But I think that TikTok, when it comes to, they're just trying to, like I said, other companies are trying to, throw something against the wall, see if it sticks. But with that program, it's a pilot program, so but if you're using it, well, whatever. Okay.
I just want to say the beginning of this job ad on here says, "What does it mean to be a homie?" So I think that's a great place to end that story.
Moving.
I have definitely dug way too weird into this.
Yeah, we don't want to go we're going into the weeds, so we're going to get out of this. All right, other news this week, Verizon is looking to acquire TracFone, but the Federal Communication Commission has yet to greenlight the acquisition. There are a few aspects of the deal that the FCC is still looking into, so Verizon and TracFone CEOs decided to quell some of the fears that the FCC expressed since the beginning of this year. Verizon CEO of the consumer group, Ronan Dunn, and TracFone CEO Eduardo Diaz Corona made some interesting comments during a teleconference with acting FCC chairwoman Jessica Rosenworcel. If I'm mispronouncing his person's name, I apologize. For example, Verizon CEO said that after the deals close, TracFone customers will be offered 5G devices and services via Verizon, and will also be allowed to keep their current plans. That will be a huge deal for them, as more than 20 million TracFone customers are already using Verizon network. Another important aspect that prevents FCC from giving the deal the green light is the Lifeline situation.
Mm-hmm.
TracFone is known as a major provider of Lifeline services, a federal program that offers discounts to eligible customers that can't afford carrier services. Excuse me. In that regard, Verizon CEO said that the carrier is committed to TracFone Lifeline business and will continue to offer these services. More importantly, he promises that within 6 months after the deal closes, Verizon will introduce a service plan to Lifeline other prepaid customers through TracFone that will include 5G services. Also, all TracFone customers will get to keep their current Lifeline service plans. So,
the fact here, okay. So here's what I hear. That was a lot of words. Here's what I hear. The FCC so totally misunderstands what happens with government-funded programs that they think that Verizon would even potentially walk away from the federal government guaranteed paying them for cellular service when they can't guarantee that anybody else will.
Yep.
That seems like a total misunderstanding. Because the goal is predictable recurring revenue. That's how you make a service business work.
Right.
The government paying however many Lifeline. For those who don't know, Lifeline was commonly called the Obama phone, which was put into place by George W. Bush. So the name definitely makes sense. Because this is a night of weird names.
Right. And it's not nothing.
No, it's not nothing. It is, however, commonly named after the wrong president. Anyway, so the government is saying we will pay for service for people who couldn't have been your customer anyway. We will pay you for it. And now they're afraid, if you buy TracFone, you may not want our money. Incorrect. Guaranteed that's why they want TracFone. Is because they want the government's money, not in a fear of losing it. So,
well, not to mention, 5G is not even out across for everyone. So, and even 5G, not only is it not available everywhere, but also if you add 5G to your service, be it if it's a Lifeline plan or not, you're gonna pay more.
Yeah, and so's the government.
Right.
If you offer 5G service on Lifeline, they can charge the government more.
Yep.
And again, the idea that the acting commissioner's like, we think if you buy them, you're going to shut down Lifeline. You don't understand business. You're in the wrong job there, champ.
Yep.
Good thing you're just acting, chairwoman, because
right,
you're the wrong person for the job.
Yeah, I would like to. It's going to be interesting what's going to happen if this goes through, because I don't know. I have my doubts on it.
TracFone has been an MVNO running mostly on Verizon for the contract switch from AT&T or Singular/AT&T exclusive in 2006, and they've branched out that I think they're now 80/20 Verizon AT&T.
Yep.
They're paying Verizon for use of their network, which could only be more expensive and not less expensive than just operating it directly.
Right.
They're a reseller of a thing. A reseller means that there's a middleman. A middleman means that there's more cost. This would literally have the ability to make the service less expensive.
Yeah.
But logic is not ever on the menu when the FCC is involved.
Right, especially when dealing with major telecoms.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's what was her name with the last name we weren't sure, Rosenworcel, or Ajit Panay, I think, was the last guy. Doesn't matter which one it is. You're not logic does not factor in when the FCC gets involved.
Right.
So
Yeah. Well, that's with most companies. All right.
certainly most government organizations.
Right. Amen to that. All right. Next up, Airbnb has blocked or redirected, quote, potentially risky reservation attempts from over 50,000 people across 15 cities, part of the crackdown on parties in its properties during the pandemic. These includes 7,000 in Dallas, 6,000 in San Diego, 5,100 in Charlotte, 3,500 in St. Louis, 3,000 in Columbus, and 2,700 in New Orleans. This is from the company's head of trust and safety communications, Beth Bright, who is telling The Verge. The Denver Post reports that it's blocked 5,000 people from making bookings in Phoenix, 4,500 in Las Vegas, 4,500 in Seattle, 2,600 in Denver, 2,600 in Portland, 1,800 in Salt Lake City, and 1,500 in Albuquerque. The company told WLWT5, quote, in the past year, this technology has blocked or redirected potentially risky reservation attempts for more than 2,000 people in Cincinnati, while 3,800 people were blocked in Austin, as according from KXAN. The total number of block bookings may be higher, Airbnb says, since each of these blocked individuals may have attempted to take more than one booking. Bright outlines the Denver Post which kinds of bookings and systems has been automatically blocking in the U.S. since July last year. He says, quote, if you're under the age of 25 and you don't have a history of positive reviews, we will not allow you to book an entire home listing local to where you live.
Well, that's fair. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I would like to point out, I'm going to read these cities: Dallas, San Diego, Charlotte, St. Louis, New Orleans, Las Vegas, Seattle, Portland, and Columbus, Ohio. One of these is not like the others. One of these is certainly not known as a party city.
Right.
I definitely don't think, I want to go. I want to have a house party. New Orleans, San Diego, Las Vegas. No, Columbus, Ohio. Weird. Even weirder was that Cincinnati was in the list as well. Why was Ohio in that list twice?
Yeah,
and Reno is not. Something's fishy here. I would have expected Reno to be on that list in big, bright, blinking numbers.
I never known that. Well, I haven't used Airbnb, and I didn't think that there was that much. I was kind of surprised that they're blocking quote in air quotes potentially risky reservation attempts.
Oh yeah,
I didn't never known that.
It's actually a huge problem. In my parents' neighborhood, there are, I think, currently 6 houses that are Airbnb, and they oftentimes get rented out for big parties because they're on the beach. And so they get loud. And so I gave my father the support number for Airbnb and said, when it happens, call and document the date and time. Because they are not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to rent a house for a house party.
Okay.
It is against the Airbnb TOS. Plain and simple. You cannot rent a house for a house party. So it makes sense if you're under 25 and you're renting a place in your own neighborhood, you're renting it for a house party. That's not a staycation or anything. That is a house party. So it's actually pretty clever. I wouldn't have thought about that.
Yeah. Well, I noticed that I was looking at Airbnb. Actually, for whatever reason, I was looking to do a reservation for Vegas for CES. And some of the houses do say this is not used for for parties. And also some of them says, we have neighbors, and be mindful of them. So, okay, that makes sense.
We did one when we did our final Collision conference in Toronto. We did an Airbnb. It was a great experience. The woman who owned it was wonderful, but she said not all of the people have been that who have rented. She and I got along great. It was a wonderful experience, but she said not everybody who rents is forward about what is going on.
Right.
Because right from the beginning, I said, we're a TV crew. We're coming in to do a conference, and we will spend very little time there. And when we are, we will be unconscious.
Right.
Because conferences are very long weeks. She's like, great. You are the ideal person. Because sometimes people will have big old parties, and it's terrible.
Yeah, I'll have to look into it, because maybe I'll look into it for CES, just because I was at the plaza and I just crashed. So I'll have to look into it.
Not that this is an advertisement for Hotels.com, but
no.
Also check them out. They have private listings now, and we've rented a private listing in Houston from them. And it worked out real well. Plus, you get your credits for your free nights through them, which you don't through Airbnb.
Oh, okay.
Not an ad for it. We're not affiliated with them at all.
Nope.
I just use Hotels.com all the time for my bookings because it's so much cheaper.
I'll tell you about
that. Stay 10 nights, get one free. Woo. When you're doing 3 or 4 hotel rooms in Vegas for 7-10 days, get a lot of free nights real quick.
Well, I'll tell you about something later when we get done off air for something else that helped me greatly in saving money, and I'll tell you about that when we get off air. We'll get off air. All right. Next up, speaking of Facebook, we dissected earlier, former President Donald Trump, who has complained about censorship by social media giants, filed class action lawsuits on Wednesday against Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg, Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey, and Google CEO Sundar Pichai. He announced at an 11 a.m. press conference on Wednesday that he is the lead class representative in a lawsuit being filed with the Southern District of Florida. The filing, Trump says, seeks immediate injunction relief to allow the prompt restoration of the social media accounts. He also said he is asking the court to impose, quote, punitive damages on the 3 social media giants, Facebook and Twitter. I imagine it hasn't been reported, but they have declined to comment.
No kidding.
So, yeah. So
because it would be the world's worst idea for them to comment on it.
Mm-hmm. And when first, I think this lawsuit is laughable. However, I watched the announcement on C-SPAN, and we're not going to go into the political realm, rabbit hole, but there are some points to be made as far as free speech, but also he mentioned about Section 230. So it's laughable. So I don't know how the suit's going to go. I don't know if I don't think there's a chance in hell he's going to get money out of it. However, I just still believe
because no attorney on the planet would put him in a deposition room. Right.
But it kind of screams again. I'm like, we're not going into politics, but it just seems to me there's a lot of it's all about free speech, which all Americans are entitled to. But then he's bringing up Section 230, where Facebook is a platform and Twitter is a platform and YouTube is a platform this podcast is on. So hopefully it won't get taken down. But, I always believe if I don't agree with something, I should be able to say what I believe in. And Twitter as well, I should be able to say something, that I believe in, and that, you may disagree with something and vice versa. But it just seems to me that I'm not there's two sides of the coin. I'm not going saying, okay, he's right or he's wrong. I just think that there's a little bit of there's something that maybe needs to be looked into.
Yeah, there's a number of issues that need to be looked into. I listened to a thing by a Harvard graduate constitutional attorney.
Mm-hmm. That's deep.
Yeah. So I mean, this is the person to listen to, and they said here are the things. First, the filing is not great, but
mm-hmm.
The claim for First Amendment protection does have an argument because, yes, the First Amendment applies to the government, not to private entities. But when a private entity acts on behalf of a government representative, they now fall under the classification of the First Amendment. There are about a dozen Supreme Court cases on this particular topic.
Right.
And so on the 6th, you had a dozen or so members of the House and the Senate who all publicly asked Facebook, Twitter, and Google to ban him.
Mm-hmm.
And then they did,
which
puts them squarely in that questionable case of were they acting on behest of the government, in which case they have to follow the First Amendment, meaning they couldn't have done what they did.
Right.
So there is some constitutional standing in Trump's favor here.
Mm-hmm.
The mention of 230 was probably a mistake in that 230 is a disaster and nobody wants to touch it.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to touch it. The courts don't. The House and Senate don't.
Right.
Neither president wanted to do anything. Neither Biden nor Trump wanted to. Both want to talk about it, but neither wants to do anything about it.
Right.
So everybody wants to stay away from it because it's a minefield, because 230 is an absolute disaster. It's written so poorly, and under it, technically, none of these companies apply as under protection, because all of them have actively removed content that was not illegal.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as you do that, you technically let go of your protection. But do you? Because the wording sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So mentioning 230 was probably a mistake. If he wanted to go down the first, the attorney said, if he wants to go down the First Amendment path, it would probably be a win in the Supreme Court. But nobody on the planet, no attorney on the planet, including Rudy, is going to put Trump in a deposition room. So the defendants, if they keep that in mind, they may be able to squish this.
And one in the end, he introduced
which I know is the wrong verb. I know it's squash, but squish is a funnier word, and I like to say it better.
I like squish. And he brought up a teacher where she spoke about, and I don't know if it's true or not, where she spoke about her kid's not wearing a mask, and allegedly her account got pulled. So
it's happened a number of times. Filing this as a class action is brilliant. Because he's going to have people who have active suits against these companies. Steven Crowder is a great example. He has active lawsuits against Facebook, Twitter, and Google, all separately. And so he's going to get support from Crowder, who is a much better person to put in a deposition room than he is. So filing as a class action means that they could put somebody who would do better on a witness stand or in a deposition room as kind of the voice of the movement, which would be good for them. Because I've been following the Crowder thing. I follow a lot of things. For those who are listening or watching, I follow a lot of things because I am fascinated by the weird stuff that's happening with big tech. And the Crowder story is interesting. Google threatened to close his YouTube account, and Twitter suspended him for reading from the CDC's website.
Yeah, I'm looking at,
which is obviously not great.
yeah, I'm looking at WallStreetJournal.com right now. And it says here, Jennifer Horton, a Michigan school teacher, was banned from Facebook for sharing an article questioning whether mandatory masks for young children are healthy.
And the article quoted the CDC.
Right. And later, when her brother went missing, she was unable to use Facebook to get the word out. Colorado.
That's right. I'd forgotten about that part.
Yeah. Colorado physician Kelly Victory was deplatformed by YouTube after she made a video for her church explaining how to hold service safely. So, I mean, again, I'm just like,
when sites like Facebook and YouTube censor doctors talking about medical stuff, now we're in trouble, especially when they promote somebody like Bill Gates, who's not a doctor, talking about medical stuff. Everybody in the world who has ever interacted with me in any way, shape, or form knows that I am a huge Microsoft supporter. I literally have a set over here designed after the Windows 8 start screen. And I'll say the idea of Bill Gates talking about medical stuff scares me because he's barely a software engineer, let alone a medical doctor. And they were taking videos down by medical doctors from the Mayo Clinic. So there's arguments to be made, right? There's definitely enough standing to take this to a court. There's likely enough standing to put this in front of the Supreme Court at some point. But more importantly, there's a possibility of making enough noise heading towards the courts that Congress might respond, because as we've said before, the one thing that the left and the right seem to be able to agree on is that these three companies suck.
Agreed. So do you think that this lawsuit will hold? I mean, obviously going to Supreme Court, but do you think that Google and Twitter and Facebook are going to say, okay, here's billions of dollars and,
No,
exactly.
And literally, he said there something about trillions in damages. No.
Yeah.
But do I think that that's the point? No.
I
think the point is to make enough noise to potentially bring change about, which, like him or hate him, the one thing I think everybody can say is that Trump knows how to make enough noise to get wheels moving.
Right. Yeah.
Because I'm not a fan of the person. But I know for a fact he can get wheels moving.
Right.
Because
and also,
what do they say? The squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Right. Right.
He knows how to squeak pretty loud.
Right. I agree also too, but my whole thing is that I'm on the side of, I'm kind of torn because yes, he was president. However, he basically says what's on his mind. I mean, he did that before he was president, way before he was president. He said it was on his mind, and he was, he had a popular TV show for years, The Apprentice, that that was the highest rated show in TV history.
In fairness, The Apprentice wasn't terribly successful. It wasn't until they changed it to The Celebrity Apprentice that it became a success.
I agree.
The Apprentice was okay.
Agreed. Agreed. I definitely agree on that.
But The Celebrity Apprentice was a commercial success.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right about that. Yeah. So I just think that I'm just kind of torn when I saw that, to think that, I don't know. I'm just going to we're just going to see, keep an eye to see what's going to happen.
He's pointing out a legitimate problem. There are a lot of people who are afraid. I mean, the fact that a political comedy show gets a hard strike on YouTube because they read the CDC's website and the hard strike was about medical misinformation, reading the CDC's website, problem. That's a problem. So he's definitely pointing to a legitimate problem.
Right.
But what does it mean? We don't know. But this gives the ability to investigate what it means. This opens up the ability, because there's no way this gets kicked at summary judgment, which means that the next stage is discovery, which is what this is really about. I think this is about the discovery phase and being able to get inside and see statistics to be able to prove a point.
Yeah.
And I think that's exclusively what it is. I don't think the courts end up having anything to do with this except giving discovery to be able to move in Congress. That's my theory. Is that's what the end result of all of this is.
All right. Well, we'll see.
There are so many possible ways this thing plays out, but that's my current theory.
I just think that they're not. Google's going to probably countersue him on a host of things. So
defamation would be,
and that's one of them.
Their best play. I don't know. I don't know that they could prevent that from getting kicked at summary, though. But they're going to do it. But I think it's their best play. But I don't think it works.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. Speaking of other Google news, a little bit of Google news. Google has removed 9 apps from the Play Store after Dr. Webb's researchers found they were actually Trojan stealing users' Facebook passwords. The list includes...
Of course they were. Listen to these app names.
Right. Processing Photo, App Lock Keep, Rubbish Cleaner. I used that back in the day. Don't download that. It's a bad app. I did. Excuse me. Horoscope Daily, Horoscope Pi, App Lock Manager, Locket Master, InWell Fitness, and PIP Photo. The developers of these apps have often been banned for violating Google's Play Store policies. Processing Photo, now listen, as Processing Photo was the most popular of the 9 apps and was downloaded over 500,000 times. All the apps trick users by prompting them to log into their Facebook accounts to disable in-app ads. Once the user agrees, the apps will load the legitimate Facebook login form into WebView and hijack the login credentials using a JavaScript code received from the command server. The JavaScript code would then pass stolen login and password to Trojan apps, which then transfer it to command server, along with cookies from the current authorization session.
Yeah.
So if you have one of these apps, including Rubbish Cleaner, delete it, uninstall it.
That has been a common trick long before Facebook. This has been a common trick for stealing login credentials for decades. There's literally nothing new about this. It's a keylogger. It's just loaded into the browser, and the Android web view is really easy to do that with, is you can inject JavaScript after the page loads. So you load the page, hidden. You load the login page in a hidden web view. It reports that it's loaded. You inject your JavaScript and you show it. Nobody knows that anything's been injected. You put in your username and password, hit go. It goes through all the same process. It gives you the website up at the top. You go through your thing all along. It's watching you type. Saving it all.
Yep.
It's pretty easy. It's not good.
No.
It's the reason why if you're on a mobile device and somebody wants you to log in with Facebook and it doesn't open the app, if it doesn't open the app or give you a dialogue that says, do you want to open the app to authenticate? It's not real. Don't do it.
Yep.
Always use the app because they can't keylog that way.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, I use Rubbish Cleaner. To be honest, I think I had it for a BlackBerry Tour years ago, and I didn't, and for whatever reason,
What are the chances it's even the same group? It doesn't seem likely. It seems like this is somebody who hijacked a name from a company that doesn't exist anymore.
Maybe
a decade later.
maybe. I mean, and I remember, like I said, I remember the app, and for whatever reason, I had someone I remember reading about it and went online or somewhere where they recommended it as a good app. I'm like, oh, what the hell? I'll download it. It worked somewhat okay, but then it crashed and I just got rid of it. So the app, not the BlackBerry, but yeah, that's
Well, eventually both.
right, right. All right. Other Google news: the Pixel 5a 5G. This is Google's mid-range counterpart of last year's Pixel 5 has been spotted in the FCC database, suggesting a release may not be far away. This is from Android Police, which first saw the two listings, reporting that none specifically mentioned the name, quote, Pixel 5a, but that at least one of the three model numbers, GROM2, lines up with previous reports about the barely announced phone. Android Police is also speculating that one of the modes, G1F8F, is the version of the phone destined for release in the US based on its wireless frequency bands. But it reports that this version doesn't offer support for mmWave 5G networks. In contrast, the Pixel 4a 5G offered mmWave support when used with compatible carriers. The other two models could be the phone's international versions. The listings don't offer many new details compared to what's already been in the room about the phone. The Pixel 5a will reportedly be powered by a Qualcomm Snapdragon 765G processor. Will be equipped with a 6.2-inch OLED 1080 display, and will include which I'm happy about, includes a headphone jack like Google's previous A series Pixels. Woohoo! There's two rear cameras that are expected, a main camera and ultra wide. Now I'm looking forward to it because the headphone jack, but B,
You said A.
yeah, because
Google Pixel 5B.
right. But also, yeah, that's the main reason why. The main reason why, and also, and I have a Pixel. I'll show for you guys who are watching live. I have a Pixel 3 XL, so I'm definitely.
You've been waiting for a 5A. You have said it so many times. You have been waiting for a 5A with bated breath.
Yes. So I am definitely going to pull the trigger. I've been waiting. You're right. I've been talking about this for like past several months, if not
since the 5
so.
was announced.
Right. Right. So I'm definitely looking forward to it.
It's nice to see somebody still putting a headphone jack because nothing I have does anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me sad.
Mm-hmm.
We've been working on a car for Alante, who's one of our CES crew, and the phone that he's switching to doesn't have a headphone jack either. And so here we are trying to figure out, we got a little Bluetooth thing to go into the aux. And, such a pain. Hook up a cable.
Yep.
I miss headphone jacks. So simple. And yet here we are.
Yep. I'm a happy puppy. I love it. I am a happy puppy, and you'll be able to use these headphones or the other ones I have. Oh, I am so happy. I cannot wait. All right. Other news this week, starting in 2022, Universal movies will be available on Peacock first instead of HBO. That means the next Jurassic World and new Halloween movie will make their TV debut on the streaming service, also owned by its parent company, Comcast. According to Variety and the Wall Street Journal, Universal films will appear exclusively on Peacock for streaming within 4 months after a theatrical release, as well as within the final 4 months of an 18-month window. Those 10 months in between, the films will be licensed to around 2 to 3 additional partners. Excuse me, though none of them will have exclusive rights to movies.
That changed 3 days after this press release.
Oh, it did? Okay.
Yes, we will be talking about this tomorrow on F5 Live.
Okay. Cool.
they signed a deal with Amazon. They will be Prime exclusives in the interim window. Starting in 2022, all Universal films will go to Prime Video after the Peacock exclusivity.
Breaking news.
Yep.
All right, breaking news.
That was they threw everybody off because they're like, oh, we're working with 2 or 3 partners. Then 3 days later, they're like, oh, by the way, those 2 or 3 partners are all Amazon Prime Video.
All right. Well, we should have what we should do is have a breaking news. Because I just found this out just now. Okay, cool. All right. So more on that tomorrow night. Still be at 9 at 9, right?
Yes.
Okay, 9 p.m. Eastern. Okay, cool. All right. So I'll definitely tune in tomorrow night. All right. And finally,
it's an interesting topic, right? Because Peacock has always been, and this is kind of the tone of the story that we'll be talking about tomorrow. Peacock has been the weird one, right? They are the ones who went, we're going to have a freemium model like Hulu used to. Oh, nobody else is doing that. And now they're going, oh yeah, our parent company isn't going to strong arm you into subscribing to Peacock if you want to watch its films. It's going to work with Amazon, which you probably already have. So, Disney has been very strong arm. And I use those 2 as my example because Disney and Hulu was created by ABC, NBC, and Fox. 2 of them are now Disney, and 1 of them is now Comcast. They weren't when Hulu started. So they're the 2 companies that started as Hulu. Comcast has continued the original Hulu vision of a freemium service with ad-supported model and then a paid and an ad-free above it. Whereas Disney has gone, Disney super strong arm. Disney is definitely the Apple of the media world. They're strong arming people. Marvel films are gone. They're on Disney Plus. Right. And Universal's going, no, you know what? We'll have an exclusivity on our own platform. Then we're going to give them to Amazon for a while. Okay.
Yeah.
Peacock's been the weirdo in the industry. And I like it because Peacocks are weird and they've leaned into it. And I like it. I like what they're doing over there. And the fact that they're not trying to strong arm, the way Paramount, CBS, Viacom, or Disney are trying to do. I think it's a better strategy.
Yeah, and it's also good too. Maybe is that they're going things not a different route, but they're offering it to other partners. If that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I didn't. Like I said, it's breaking news that you're listening and watching right now. So definitely tune in tomorrow night about it because that just blew me away. That just like totally blew me away for a second. Cool. All right. And finally, so we haven't had an and finally segment in the past couple of weeks. And this has been a weird episode and fun too.
It's going to get weirder. Go ahead.
All right.
I'm going to screw this story up for you too. Go ahead.
Oh no. All right. Early this year, a nearly perfect copy of Super Mario Brothers for the NES sold for $600,000. Now, 3 months later, The Legend of Zelda has shattered that record. On Friday, a rare early production version of the NES Classic sold for $870,000 at auction. Outside of a single copy from its original manufacturing run, it's believed the game that sold this week is one of the highest, earliest known sealed copies of The Legend of Zelda in existence. According to Heritage Auctions, the card that sold on Friday comes from the game's quote from the NES R production run. Nintendo only made that version of the game for a handful of months in late 1987. The auction house said of the game before they went on sale, quote, essentially this copy is the earliest sealed copy one can realistically hope to obtain. And something tells me You're gonna top this one.
I am.
Oh boy.
Earlier today, a sealed copy of the 1996 Super Mario 64 sold also through Heritage Auctions for $1.56 million.
Wow.
That happened, I think, 2 hours ago. So the fact that you missed it is fine. I wouldn't have known about it if Alante and I hadn't been like wandering the web before the show. He's like, hey, what was the record? Why? Because Super Mario 64 just went for 1.56 million. Like, well, that record stuck around for a while, didn't it? Yep. Less than 48 hours.
Oh my god. Or less than, yeah. Wow.
Because it was Friday night, I think, that the Zelda game sold, and it was late afternoon, early evening for Super Mario 64. So I think less than 48 hours. Am I moving? Okay.
No, you're good.
No, I am moving?
No,
now I am. Good.
You are now. You were frozen like a second ago. I was just...
Okay, good. Just making sure. Because it was a weird look on my face. It was kind of fun. But yeah, less than 2 days. Less than 48 hours.
Wow.
And it almost doubled.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why would anyone to... Well, I always question people sometimes, and actually all the time. And
wow, for sure.
But this questions why someone would buy a game that's going to be in its case, and
yeah, collectibles are on the rise, thanks to NFTs, and people going, oh yeah, I had forgotten about collectibles. NFTs are stupid. I want real things.
Oh, don't go into NFTs again.
which is basically what's happened, right? NFTs got popular for about 45 minutes, and then people remembered that collectibles were a thing. And so people have gotten back into collectibles. Trading cards are up. Video games are up, obviously. And so, yeah, I think it's all about NFTs and the complete disappointment that stupid idea was. And people getting back into physical collectibles. The Legend of Zelda game was scored at a 9.0. On a scale of 10, with 10 being a perfect perfect sealed, untouched product, and 0 being, it's been chewed on by a toddler. So the Legend of Zelda was scored at a 9, and the Super Mario 64 was scored at a 9.8. Almost a perfect, untouched by human hands product. Yeah. I mean, that's a 25-year-old product that's scored at a 9.8. That has been lovingly taken care of. The Zelda game was found somewhere. You know what I mean?
Right.
It feels like maybe that was found somewhere, and they're like, oh, this is sealed. We should look into this. And the other one was somebody who lovingly took care of it for 25 years.
Well, God bless him or her, because I mean, whatever happened to like comic books back in the day, you had those.
And you don't want to see the condition of my Super Mario 64. It's not a 9.8, I can tell you. It's way closer to that chewed on by a toddler.
Or chewed on by a dog.
Preteens, probably, but
okay, fair enough.
The youth group was weird to their video games.
I second that. I second that. All right, with that is the tech news for this week for Sunday, July 11th. Thank you so much for tuning in for this week's episode. Show notes from this episode can be found at gncweekly.com. Also, be sure to check out the latest tech news and commentary from geeknewscentral.com, and be sure to tune in Mondays and Thursday evenings at geeknewscentral.com for the Geek News Central podcast, and then be sure to watch and tune in at gncweekly.com/live Friday evenings, 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll definitely do that. and it's occasionally we may have to do a Sunday evening, which is fine. So please be sure to like and subscribe to the GNC WIR channel on YouTube. Also, please make sure to click on the bell and always select notifications so you will not miss the next episode. Also, be sure to share this episode with people you know so they can check out the podcast also. Also, please be sure to subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast app. And be sure to tune in F5 Refresh Technology tomorrow evening, 9 p.m. Eastern with Scott and Abram Pilch at f5live.tv/join us, or be sure to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast app. If you have a comment on this week's episode, if you have a favorite, still have your video games still in storage, we'd love to hear from them. Head on over to gncweekly.com/connect and connect via email, Twitter, or Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I'm at Kirk Corliss. Scott is on Twitter at TTTMABO. Till the next episode of GNC Week in Review. So long.
Ciao.